Hey, I'm Drew Williams.
I'm Chad Ridgway.
I'm Kelsey Queen.
I'm Kage Queen.
I got really thrown off.
Chamberlain.
Alright, pulling up our band bio.
Stop it. I can answer that. We started like 4 years ago. And originally it was me and Shad and Chamberlain, and then we had a guy named Garrett Wilson and another guy named Sammy Taylor, and that was the original lineup of the band. And so just from growing and life and just different things going on, we brought in Drew and Kelsey, and it's been an awesome experience ever since.
Like a mix between Switchfoot and U2.
I always say a hard rock worship band. Because we're not just a Christian rock band.
I wish someone would told me.
I would say we're kind of like a mix between like Celine Dion and Creed.
A really grungy version of like mom rock.
So Chamberlain, you wrote the song.
Yeah, originally. Laying on Cage's couch one night when the power was out.
I was actually on my way to Honduras, and Chamberlain had sent me a couple of songs, but he sent me an audio clip of basically the song that he had written instrumentally, and then said these are some lyrics there.
I was pretty much just feeling pretty bad about just some stuff, not really being a thief exactly per se, but that's just kind of a metaphor that I've used. The lyric is God give me rest. And that was kind of, in that season, I was just worrying a bunch about stuff. Worrying about everything that I'd done wrong. So that song was just kind of a cry for help from God.
Basically, like, our writing structure is somebody will come in with an idea, or we'll just be jamming and there'll be an idea form. And so from there, I would say probably the songs are pretty evenly split between lyrics is probably Chamberlain and I splitting that mostly. Chad and I co-wrote one of the songs together, but instrumentally I would say together as a group we kind of all come and put our own flavors on everything. But it'll start with one person, and then we all kind of were like, well, what if we do this here, and we'll all kind of put our own ideas on it. So.
Okay. How many songs have you guys written? You guys have?
9? I think 9.
9?
And they've all kind of evolved.
It's just me!
Yeah. This is the fun.
It was the original lineup, and we had literally just started trying to book shows at this like Church of Christ retreat. Why they called a band in with drums and electric guitars, I don't know. I don't know, but they said that they had heard our stuff and they liked us. And at that time, we literally had a 3-song demo that just had worship songs on it. We'd set up our stuff and we were sound checking, and the pastors and stuff that were there kind of took us backstage and prayed with us, and then kind of told us like, we want to keep this low key. We still are trying to figure out what that means. So we went back and sound checked, and the first song on our set was gonna be, it's a Sing Trio song. What is that called?
Oh, I'm Not Alright.
I'm Not Alright. So that was our first song, and that really like set the tone for the show. And so of course it comes in on this big loud guitar riff at the beginning of it, and one of the guys came up to us and stopped us again. We're really going for low profile and, not screaming guitars and loud drums, and like, oh, okay, well, this is what we do. And so we were like, okay, well, we can just redo our set. And so we took our entire set, which was supposed to be like 45 minutes to an hour. So basically, we said we could do How He Loves, and that was it. So this guy that we've never seen, I don't know where he came from, I don't know if he was even part of the church, but he was in the very back of the room and had his phone out with the DB app, which is Decibel app, for those of you that don't know.
Yeah.
Okay? And comes up to the stage after we finished the song. He goes, "It's over 100 dB back there, you're gonna ruin these kids' hearing." And so we just kind of said, you know, it's not worth them losing their event over, so we packed up our stuff and told them that, you know, we don't want to ruin this for them, so we were gonna go home. Which is a shame because there were like 5 or 6 kids that were sitting there and you could tell they were into the worship, but so that was the first show that we were ever gonna do, and we ended up going to Cracker Barrel after that. So it was a good night. I think that if you were to sit us down individually, you would get a mix. I definitely have mixed feelings about that. You know, I think that for what we do, it works best to call us a worship band or a Christian band, because that's the music that we play. You know, you don't search very hard in our lyrics to see that, you know, God is at the forefront of the band. And so that's why it works for us. I can totally understand where people are coming from, and have been in other bands like that, and that would want to not be labeled as a Christian because that sets such a high standard for yourself, and it also sets, you know, it sets a weird, just kind of label on you.
Yeah, like, I don't think you mean a high standard necessarily as much as you mean a label that maybe the world isn't always attracted to because sometimes we have a poor reputation.
Yeah.
If I can figure out how to say that word.
I think there's 2 kinds of Christian bands. There's worship bands and then there's like Christian bands. And so with worship music, like nobody's gonna dispute what the target audience is for worship bands. Like they're meant to play, you know, at churches to lead worship for things like that. Nobody's going to dispute whether or not Chris Tomlin is, you know, a worship artist or David Crowder is a worship artist or something like that. But with other musicians, like if the message is still in there, it's just not so in your face. I think it can be kind of a blessing to your ministry to not label yourself as a Christian band, because then people, like Drew was saying, you're not gonna get, like, people aren't gonna shy away from you, and so then you're actually, like, your message has actually got a broader audience then.
Yes. Yeah.
It kind of goes to the whole, like, when you're in a Christian band, you do kind of have a higher standard. Thank you.
Because you're a leader.
Yeah, because you're promoting something that's more than just, you know, this is my music, I hope you like it. So trying to uphold that standard is a struggle for everyone, you know.
And we're human.
Yeah. So.
Don't hold yourself responsible for what the audience is doing, because you don't know where people are in their lives. So just because they're not openly worshiping doesn't mean they're not worshiping. And you can't go, well, man, what am I doing wrong? Am I not worshiping God enough? And what, you know, am I not singing hard enough? Am I not connecting with God? Like, it's not. I'm not going to say it's never you, but 9 times out of 10, it's not you. You know, you don't know what's happening in people's lives and where they're at right now, and what they're walking through, or even if they're struggling with their faith. So, you know, just continue worshiping as you would even if those people weren't there, and just continue leading those people in worship.
I think one thing I've always struggled with, and I've gotten better about it a lot more recently, but it's like when you're writing or leading, worrying about how you can make this song a little bit more cool, or like add this really cool breakdown or something like that, and you kind of lose sight on what you're doing, which is, you know, worshiping. Not that worship music can't be, you know, fun and exciting, but, you know, I think just to make sure that you don't lose sight of the fact that you're worshiping just as much as, if not more, as the people in the congregation.
remembering what you're doing, who you're doing it for is the big thing.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was gonna say, is that you just have to lose yourself in it. And like for me, I have to close my eyes and really concentrate on the words that I'm saying, and think about what I'm singing to God. And I don't know, I lose myself in it, and that's how I worship. And those moments are like some of the best I've ever experienced in my entire life.
I think so many people sometimes put worship in a box and go in with this mindset that worship has to be serious all the time, you know, and I think so many times I think of like the times where we do stupid stuff during like a lion or rise and sing, or, you know, and those are like joyous times. And, you know, I always go back to the vision in Revelation, and how, you know, the angels are singing and dancing and rejoicing in the glory of God. And I think that that's what we're called to do here on earth. And so, you know, dancing, singing, whatever it is, you know, those are the ways that we worship and lead others in worship.
People, even if they don't believe in anything, find something that they love, and they do all that they can for it, and they get into it, and they make fools of themselves all for this thing or these things, whether or not they're detrimental to their health or whatever. That's whatever. But it's who we are, and it's what sets everybody apart. So if someone was to ask, you know, why am I supposed to care? To me, I would say, well, I mean, I guess you're not, but you don't have to sit down and be angry about something and question it. Just look at it on a point of view that people are doing the things that they love, and whether or not they believe in something that you do, or they don't believe in something that you do, you know, they're having fun and they're doing what they love doing, they're being who they are. And I think that the person asking the question is being who they are by asking the question.
Why do you do it?
Why do I do it? Because I spent a lot of my life not knowing what a Christian was, and doing a lot of things that a Christian shouldn't, and knowing now what I should have known then. I'm more me than I ever have been, and it's just in my blood. It's just who I am.